We're back. I think the first female that ever came on the podcast, and probably one of the last.
I'll take it.
You take it. But congratulations on, you got a few more greys since the last time we talked.
Yeah, I look a bit older, don't I?
We just sat here for 30 minutes and she was just giving me the little spiel on what the intricacies of being a promoter is.
Yeah, it's a world.
Had you done one by the first time we done a podcast? I think you were just about to do your first.
I think so. Yeah, that was quite a while ago.
Because Boars wasn't even at the warehouse yet. Boars was still in Woodcroft.
I reckon it was pre-COVID.
Yeah,
but I did that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I feel like I've been doing it for 20 years.
Oh my God, the sound of it just stressed me out. We were just talking off camera and I was like, I can't even organise a fighter to come on the podcast. And you managed to get like 60 in the same place at one time.
I haven't done it yet.
You haven't done it yet.
Anything like could happen next week.
Oh my God. Is next week the week where you're like, fuck, every day?
Yeah, it's kind of this week as well though, because if something's not done by the end of this week, it's not happening next week, and it's definitely not making the show. So this week and then, a little bit next week.
Is that why you put on so many fights? So if like 3 drop out, it's fine?
Yeah, I think it's more that I think of the fighters. So if I see a match there and then I'm like, oh, I won't put any more fights on, I'm like, no, but then 2 fighters miss out. So that's how I've ended up with 20 fights on the undercard.
That's the best and worst thing about an ex-fighter being a promoter, because you have like, you know what it's like on both sides. So that's probably why your show's going to do really well though.
It is, but it's also a long day for everyone. But it's seeing all the nominations come in. So I had 150 amateur nominations come through for this event, and then sitting there, and then I've matched all these fights and I can see fighters left over and I feel really sad. And I'm like, oh, they miss out.
Just for this one.
Yeah.
But how are you doing 1 or 2 a year?
2 a year. That's the goal. I don't reckon I could manage any more than that.
After what you were just telling me, I don't think you should for your stress levels.
Mental health is on the decline.
You're actually holding it together pretty well. Like,
I'm glad it looks like that.
With the numbers
outside.
And the scale of it all that you were telling me, that's like, it's not a small show anymore.
No, it's not. It's pretty crazy to think where it's come from.
It's a fucking a big thing. Like, it's just big. Which is
terrifying.
Crazy. It is. It's crazy.
So scary.
So what for anyone who doesn't know or who didn't watch the last podcast, Carly is one of the owners and head trainer of Boars Muay Thai, and she owns and is the promoter of Pride Fight Series, which is like South Australia is probably, I would say it's one of the newer. There's heaps of actual little amateur kind of Muay Thai events popping up, but you're probably one of the biggest amateur and pro events that's come about fucking ever, like since knees. You're probably the biggest thing since knees. Thanks,
I'll tell you that. That's a big compliment. Thank you. Yeah, well, it's that we don't, because in the last 5 years, Muay Thai has been on the decline. Like hugely. Yeah, honestly, there was about 2-3 years there where it was dead. Like, people weren't even producing fighters anymore.
MMA kind of took over a little bit in South Australia.
Yeah, and so did boxing. Like, amateur boxing became quite big and people were switching over because they could fight and we weren't having fights here. But in the last 2 years, we've had all these amateur promotions pop up, and what that's going to do in 2 years' time is funnel to the pro show, which is me. But, like, right now for my pro card, I've got 12 professional fights on the card, and other than one, all of them have someone being flown in. So we don't even have the capacity to match 2 pros in SA yet.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So we're still so far behind, but the fact that I could even put together a pro card was crazy, because when I first started, I would have 8 to 10 amateurs and 2 pro fights at the end. That's all I could match.
Do you do belts? You do have belts?
Yeah.
Do you know what fight I want to see?
Well, let's hear it.
Oh, my God, you could get it done. Oh, it would be expensive, but you could get it done.
We were just talking about the budget.
Oh, no. I want to see Maddie Stevens fight Jordan Fielding.
I don't think it's ever going to happen. Jordan's retired now.
Is he?
Yeah.
Is Jordan retired?
Okay, don't quote me on that, but I'm 90% sure he's retired now.
Are you sure?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, good on him then.
But that was a fight that I looked for ages ago.
Mate, that would have been violent. That would have just been great. One thing I don't understand about people that don't watch Muay Thai or have never really gotten into Muay Thai is it's all the aspects of MMA that people love. Because, not now. Now more so people are more fond of like the ground game and stuff because they understand it more. It's not as boring to people. But back in the day, people used to boo whenever someone grabbed a leg and took someone down. It's like, then just go watch Muay Thai. But it just never caught the big wave. But I feel like ONE FC is changing that heaps.
I think so, yeah. And it's more promoters are investing in their production, like what we were just talking about. Like, it's the production, and that's the only thing that gets people outside of the sport to an event.
Yeah, aesthetically, it has to look nice. It has to feel like a big night. It can't. I'm not gonna sit here and rag on Knees because Knees is a great promotion, but I feel like Knees obviously started their production value. I noticed would start declining from when they were doing like the Thebby Theatre and their big shows at Etzer Park and stuff, and then it just Dom Polsky. Obviously, it holds a lot of history with Muay Thai in South Australia, but it just feels a bit dated and it doesn't have the production value it used to have. Like, a show needs to look nice.
It does, yeah. The issue we've got in Adelaide, though, is we're very limited on venues.
Licensing-wise?
Licensing and venues that will actually allow a fight show. Like, it's really, really hard. I'm grateful for the venue I've got now, but up until then, I was really clutching at some pretty average places that I had my first 3 shows to try and make it look all right. Because to find somewhere that will, first of all, allow a fight show, second of all, allow you to put a ring or a cage on their floor, it's actually really hard to come by. Like, there's some great venues, but they might be wedding venues and they're like, oh, you can't put that on the floor. Or they hear fight show and they're like, nah.
Adelaide Oval apparently is pretty good.
Yeah, they're good. Obviously, DFC have their show there, and that's awesome. But yeah, that's kind of their spot, and they've done so well to make it that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and so the night of the event, the day of the event, it starts at 10?
10:30.
Oh, tickets are all sold out, so if you didn't get tickets, you're fucked anyway.
True that.
Congratulations on that. Is that
Thank
like a
you.
massive relief?
It is, yeah.
It'd also be stressful because you'd have like people like me, like, where can you get some
I know,
tickets?
there's always people where you're like, oh, personally, I really want those people at the events. I'm like, oh, bugger. And it's because it's licensed, and I will have, I'm going to have liquor licensing, SAPOL. Everyone you can think of that you don't want there will be there. So they will do a head count. So if I go over capacity, that's...
you can buy it though, yeah, online?
Yeah. There's a live stream. Yeah.
Free
which is your
or
next,
paid?
Paid. And it's only for the main card.
Fight TV?
It's on Combat Sports Live.
Combat Sports Live.
I've probably got that wrong.
Oh, it's on Combat Sports Live, we'll say that.
Check the Pride page.
But yeah, the Pride page will have all the details, Pride Fight Series on Instagram. But yeah, you can buy it online, and to help out Carly, everyone needs to get absolutely obliterated at the bar.
That's
safely.
That's from you. That's coming from you. But
that's coming from me. It does help.
It definitely helps pay the fighters.
Oh, it's going to be a good night though. Is there a fight? See, as an ex-fighter and a promoter, you'd probably match people up a lot different because you'd almost make it as if you're a fan.
Yeah, it's and that's one of the things I find really hard is because I'm a new promoter, I've almost got to like earn my matchmaking stripes. So there's promoters in Australia where if they offered one of my fighters a match and I go, oh, I don't know about that, but they've offered it, I go, we've got to take that fight because they see the value in it. They see that it's an even match. So that's what I'm kind of trying to work towards.
People to trust you.
Yeah. And it's definitely getting better, but like, it's hard because a lot of trainers will still look at the paper, so the record, but as you know, watching some fighters, their record means nothing. Yeah. So trying to match people, ignore the paper, actually watch them as fighters and then go, yep, that will make a good match.
Make fights.
100%, even though their experience is far apart, that's what you try and match.
Do you have a fight of the night in your head?
Oh, there's actually quite a few.
There is some. I even messaged you. I was like, this is like the best Muay Thai card I think I've seen in South Australia in years.
Thank you.
Like, it's
yeah,
such a
I'm
good
really
card.
excited. Really, really excited. So obviously the main event, this Thai is unreal. Like, he doesn't even get out of third gear, and he's first gear, should I say, and he's just obliterates people. Like, he's awesome. So I think that's going to be a really good
He's from
technical...
Interstate, yeah?
Yeah. So he's living over in WA coaching for a couple of years. So he's coming down again. So I think that's going to be a really good technical display of Muay Thai. Obviously, everyone's really pumped to watch Jack Spacey fight. And the original fight I had was one that I matched as a fan. I really, really wanted to watch that fight. Obviously, now we've got a replacement, and that's all good. This replacement is technically good. He's tough, and he's willing to jump in on 2 weeks' notice, which says a lot.
If you're jumping in 2 weeks' notice to Jack, like, that's all the props you need, like, right there.
100%.
Like, he's fucking... People wouldn't take 6 weeks camps against Jack if they knew how good he is and how violent he can be. I'm not selling it very well, but no, honestly, the guy, that's going to be a banger fight.
Yeah, it will
You
be,
got
and I really
Isaac
hope
making his debut as well.
Amazing, but that's what I was talking about with Paper. He's had 0 Muay Thai fights.
Who?
Isaac.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like that's where you can't look at Paper. So I've had Mark on my show, and then I've watched Isaac train, and I'm like, boom.
That's going to be a
That's a
war.
match I want to see. Like, that's not leaving round 1. I'm saying it right now. It's not
Really?
leaving round 1.
Really?
Nah. Someone's getting KO'd.
You're giving me goosebumps.
And I'm so excited. I've actually kind of done the card so that I can be ringside to watch that fight, because it's going to be awesome.
Would you say that might be fight or finish, or do you do like fight of the night bonuses, anything like that?
We got 2 going. So we got fight of the night, which I put a vote in, but the officials choose it. But then this time we have actually got the Neil Brown Memorial Award. Obviously, one of our officials passed away a couple of months ago, so doing it in his honour, because he reffed a lot of fights on my shows.
Yeah, that was sad to see. I never met him personally, but he seemed to mean a lot to the
awesome ref.
combat sports community.
Been around a long time, so we'll have one for a standout fighter, and then we'll have one for actual fight of the night. So,
oh wow,
yeah, which will be real good. But yeah, there's a few female fights that are fire as well.
You have a fighter from Boars fighting on the card, yeah? Or you got a couple?
I've got 6.
6. Biased.
Do you know what? It's and I'm going to say it, I'm a female promoter, and I want to see female Muay Thai take off. But it was really funny when I've always kind of said I really want an even card. I want male, female. So I try my best to do it.
It's hard though, eh?
All the female pros are from my gym.
They would be.
So for me to promote females, I've actually got to put all my fighters on.
So on top of organising this fucking monstrosity you've put together, you have to train 6 fighters for a fight.
Plus 5 on the undercard.
That's fucking disgusting.
But you know what? I just keep coming back to, you have to love this sport to want to do this stupid shit.
Well, yeah.
You have to love it.
You would have to love it. Like, you're not going to fucking survive. That's crap. That's such a big undertaking.
It's massive. But you know what? Obviously, I've got a good team.
Yeah,
like
you'd have to.
If I've got to put my promoter hat on, boom, I know the fighters are covered.
And you were saying that you have
versa.
a good like friend support group that help you with pride and all the setup and intricacies of it.
Yeah, they're unreal. Like my mates are the best cut of friend you could have. Like, so yeah, no one be an arse on the door, because they're my mates doing it because they love me.
And she's going to be ropeable on the night. So if you don't want to get snap kicked in the head by a promoter, be nice.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's going to be good. And you might see me on the commentary one day.
Hopefully.
Make my debut. But so do you do, obviously every 6 months, so is this the first one of the year? This would be the first?
Yeah, and then I'll aim to do one later in the year as well. My venue's a little bit hard in that it's government owned. So what that means is all government events get priority. So it's really hard for me to lock my dates in. I have to wait 6 months and then book it in. So
trying to think of other
pretty hard.
venues. You'd obviously be able to do it on private property pretty easily. Like, it's just, venues would be the hardest thing about finding something.
It is, and you don't. Some shows
because you need it to
really-
be central as well.
Yeah,
Like,
that's right.
You can't do it out in the sticks down south, like on a farm or something in fucking, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you got to do it pretty central in a central location.
Yeah, and where I've got it is actually, like, obviously for us coming from down south, it's not central, but for 80% of the people coming, it's
We're a
around
dying
the corner.
breed down. Yeah,
We are. No one likes the south.
No one likes
I'm
coming
always
here.
promoting it. I'm like, I would never live anywhere.
Oh, I can't. If I go to Marion, I get a fucking anxiety attack. I don't even like going down the hill.
Down the hill. I was actually talking to someone about this the other day. I thought we were down the hill, but we're up the hill.
What do you mean we're up the hill? Yeah,
Aren't we? We're up the hill.
Yeah, we're up the
south.
hill, so I don't like going down the hill.
Yeah, but I've always said
Up the hill.
for years. I've been like, oh yeah, we're down the hill.
What do you mean?
I don't know, because I've always said down south, so I'm like, oh, we're down the hill.
So when you go to Marion, you say I got to go up the hill. Really?
So I've been doing
But
it
you
backwards.
literally have to go
Yeah.
down a hill.
No, it makes sense.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the south.
Yeah, the south. People don't love it down here, but
No,
that's
they
fine.
don't.
That's fine. I've got to drive to Salisbury to get those tickets, and that will be the furthest north I've ever got. I'm gonna feel like Jon Snow.
The commitment.
Oh.
I like the commitment. Thank you.
But that's it's oh fuck, I hate that dog. So you're planning at the end of the year, and if everything goes well, will it be at the same spot? Hopefully.
Yeah, I love it, and it's way too hard to change venues.
It'd be like looking at wedding venues for you, When you're walking, you're like, oh, there's so much bloodshed in here.
I literally walked into this venue the first time, and I stepped foot in there, and I closed my eyes, and I was just like, all right, I got to imagine gloves hitting, shins smacking, people yelling, and I was like, this is it. I love it.
that's sick.
I love this venue.
What
People
do you-
can say what they want, but it's it for me.
Do you own the ring?
Yep.
It's your ring. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
I was going to say that wouldn't be cheap to hire.
No. Well, it's not
It wouldn't be cheap to buy.
one either, but it means that it's just in my control. So it was actually sitting in my shed at home. It's massive. Like, this thing's like 2.5 ton.
It's in your shed at home.
It was, yeah. And then I was like, when we moved to the gym, I was like, well, so that we can do maintenance on it, we may as well just put it up in the gym. So it's up in the gym.
That's sick.
Permanently. And then we just do the changes that we need, check everything, take it down.
That way you're not pulling it up the night before and something's fucked and you need to, at least you know it's in working order.
Yeah, so all year round we're making changes to it or tightening things or getting something replaced or, yeah.
That could be because you like adding stress to your life. Your next venture could be building a venue where fight shows could be held.
Do you know, I actually, on the grapevine, someone was actually trying to do that.
Really?
In South Australia, yeah. But that's
Is it not-
real hard. That's pretty hard
Is it?
to do, yeah.
Because if you could build a stadium on like a smaller scale titanium arena that fit like 5,000 people, so it was like angled up, because basketball stadiums are perfect for it. Because when I went to the Perth RAC arena for the UFC, it's a basketball stadium, so the seats are all angled up.
Oh, it would be
So you can
perfect.
see into the, like, you never, because honestly, fights are better to watch at home. Like, if you want to actually watch a fight and analyze it and shit, you're never going to get a better viewing experience than the TV.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
These, like, I remember I went to a fight show once and it just wasn't set up for it. It was fun, but it was fucking terrible because you can't see anything.
100%.
But these basketball arenas, their seats are angled upwards, so you can see directly into the cage from anywhere.
Yeah, it's definitely ideal. That's one thing I hate about the way that I have to do it is I've got to set up chairs, but you've got an elevated ring. And then if you got someone held tall in front of you, that's a problem. But I don't have something to combat that.
That's just fight shows.
Sucks.
That's just a thing with fight shows.
Yeah.
But if someone could build something like that, they'd be able to hire it out for like jiu-jitsu tournaments.
So in other words, someone with money. Please.
Someone with money. Carly has no money.
After this show, Carly has no
We'll
money.
talk next Sunday and see how it's going.
May not be here.
Do you like Muay Thai in the cage? You're a purist a bit more
I'm
than anything,
a bit
aren't you?
more of a purist, but I wouldn't say no. But someone's tried it here and it didn't take off.
I don't like Muay Thai in the cage because I think the ropes kind of give you a bit of more ability to not get fucking backed into the cage and cleaned up with a knee or something. Like, it gives you more opportunity to escape if you get boarded up somewhere because you can kind of lean back a bit.
Yeah.
Like with the cage, you're just fucking stuck there. But I do love Muay Thai in 4-ounce gloves.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I love it. I love Muay Thai in 4-ounce gloves.
But see, that's I am a purist. I
Yeah,
can admit
I
it,
imagine
but I
you would
can
be.
really appreciate the entertainment value of Muay Thai in a cage, Muay Thai in small gloves. Like, I get it.
Muay Thai in small gloves is so. I've had many an argument with on Pinky's statuses over things like this.
Oh, I can imagine. You'll get comments to this if he listens to it.
He is. At first, I was like, "Fuck this guy, man," but then I was like, "Nah, he's just like he's as pure of a Muay Thai dude as you get."
Oh, absolutely.
He's just, and I'm more of in the MMA kind of sphere.
Yeah.
And it'll always be that argument of who would win in a fight, a Muay Thai fighter or a fucking, well, who knows?
Let's test it.
Let's test it out.
Let's get it done. Well, we will with Mark and Isaac.
Oh my God,
May
we
18,
will.
let's go.
Oh, there's a lot on the line, Isaac. The more I think about it, that might be fight of the night. How much is the bonus?
Well, there currently isn't one, but maybe I've got to chuck one in.
Oh no, for the fight of the nights and stuff.
Yeah.
They're like medals.
Yeah, no, well, not a medal. I got a trophy.
You got a trophy?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, probably got to up my game.
$20. No, you don't need to add any money.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see how we go.
But what is it? So there's a lot of shit obviously people don't see on, like, they just see the thing they just see the finished product of the show.
Yeah.
And everyone's like pretending like they're not fucking dying on the inside because they've just spent 7 hours setting up the show. Like, is there anything that, well, obviously everything surprised you in becoming a promoter, but it's obviously a lot harder than you thought it would be, or were you anticipating this?
Oh, I knew it was going to be hard. I knew it was going to be hard just dealing with people in general. It's like, that's the hardest part of any job, isn't it? Is people management and whatnot. But there's a lot more behind the scenes that people don't.
The legalities.
And one of the things I struggle with is a lot of people, and I'll always take feedback, like 100%. How can I make my show better? What can I do better? But when people say certain things and I'm like, you don't get it. You don't get why we can't do it like that. Or, like even just something simple like people saying, you should join the two cards together so we don't have to leave the venue and come back. And I'm like, yeah, but that's part of the law. That's part of my license. You have to exit the venue. The license starts and then re-enter. It can't start with people in the venue, if that kind of makes sense. So it's like little things like that.
Because the fines they're not $100 fines. They're
we're looking at 20,000.
Tens of thousands of
for
dollars.
a slip up. And I'm just like...
And they're waiting for it because it's free money for them. Like
100%. And they find something every time they find something. And that's it. That's their job. And it's my job to try and make sure that it's all, hunky-dory. But that's the thing. Like, I do it because I love Muay Thai. But then there's that whole other side of event coordination that goes with it that makes the job really
harder.
Shit.
Yeah. But eventually if you keep going with it, because it will be successful if you keep going with it, it's just persevering. You'll be able to like outsource people to deal with that, and you can more focus on the matchmaking and the fighters, which is probably what you'd be best at.
That's the part I like, but you've got to do all the...
And I don't know how you even like that, because whoever doesn't train or who doesn't interact with fighters, they are the most emotional fucking people you'll ever meet in your life. And especially when you're dealing with 60 of them cutting weight at the same time.
Cutting weight, getting them organised.
When's weigh-ins?
So the pros will weigh in Friday night, and then the amateurs will weigh in on the same day.
Same day weigh-ins?
Yeah.
Same day weigh-ins?
Yeah, so all amateurs are under those conditions.
I'll fucking make my debut on fucking Pride. I would. If it's same day weigh-in.
Do it.
70
What do you
kilo.
weigh?
I can get down to 70.
Oh, yeah.
I could probably get down to 60, 68.
That's Jack Spacey's weight. Let's go.
I'll fucking fight him. Nah. There's no amount of money. There's no amount of money in the world. Is Jack 68 kilos?
Yep.
That's fucking wild. Really?
I don't know what he walks around at.
Oh, I don't know. I reckon if he walks, he doesn't really blow up and stuff. He's pretty fit all year round. It's just when people are that lean, you don't realise how much people like weigh.
It's hard to pick. Like
it's hard to
when
gauge.
you sit there and you watch fighters get in the ring, I'm like, I never would have picked that was their weight division.
When I went
pretty
to
crazy.
Melbourne for Hex, there was this bloke called Bates, Alden Bates, I believe his name is. He's a fucking good fighter. And when he was stepping on the scale, I was like, how does this man, I believe he was like 71, 72 kilos. He's a Jamaican and must have phenomenal genetics as well because he looked like a sculpture. I was like, how the fuck is it? He looked like he was 95 kilos. I was like, how does he only weigh that? And on the night, he would have probably weighed like 85 because he would have just rehydrated.
Oh, absolutely.
Some people are so good at cutting weight.
I used to put on 7 to 8 kilos.
What did you used to fight at?
58.
58?
Yeah.
And then you used to put on overnight about
that's what I would naturally come back up to. Like, so I can imagine males would be probably more than that.
Cutting for females is a different kind of art, eh?
Shit. Yeah, it's really hard.
Especially if you catch it on, like, when you're on your, like, periods and things, that would just fucking make it so much harder.
It does, yeah. And I think that's a lot of the game is changing around weight cutting, which I'm so glad about. You know, like when I was fighting, we never even used to have amateur weigh-ins. So amateurs were cutting weight for a 24-hour weigh-in, whereas now they can fight at what they walk around at, weigh in the same day, and it's so much better. And there's so many more resources. Like people are getting dietitians, people are getting weight cut specialists to do their weight cuts, so people aren't cutting as much.
One FC don't even do. They do hydration tests. I don't even think they cut weight, or they don't. They do like a different process to everyone else. They do like they test your hydration level. So if you're like killing yourself, they won't let you fight.
Yeah, I think they go by percentages, and they do that with some title fights as well. So like 4 weeks out, you've got to be within a percentage of that weight so that you're not cutting X amount of weight.
It just happened in the UFC last week. First time in ages I've seen it. This bloke was walking to the scale and he looked like he was fucking... He didn't know where he was. He was like stumbling. He was walking like his legs were fucking broken. And he was underweight by 500 grams. So obviously he was overweight, and then he just slammed himself in the sauna or a spa or something, and like with hot towels, and he looked like he was actually going to die, and they pulled him off the card straight away.
Yeah, it's
a woman, a Muay Thai fighter woman, like what was 6-7 years ago, passed away in Australia from a weight cut.
Yeah, we've had a couple. There was a young 17, 18-year-old girl that passed away in WA a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it was WA.
And then there has been another one, and then there was another famous fighter that passed away in Thailand cutting weight as well, and that was big.
It's such a bad thing for your body.
I think the industry's changed though. So like, oh God, I say when I was fighting, it sounds like...
How long was your last fight?
3 years ago. But like,
oh, really?
But even then, and maybe like 5-6 years ago, the industry was so different. You know, like I was, through my whole career, I cut so hard. And for what? You know, I would never, ever let my fighters cut the weight that I did. So I'm kind of glad that I went through all of that, but I wouldn't let them do it now because it screws your body for the rest of your life. Like
especially as a woman, you shouldn't, like, I imagine it's not great for your womanly things.
No.
Like, I imagine it would fuck with your period, like your menstrual cycles, and I don't know how great it is for kids in the future. You've been... Because it's, even for males, it's fucking terrible for you.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's not good for anyone. Like, it's so bad. But you see some people that will go on death's door just for that extra advantage. Like, but you're not fighting at an advantage because you're a diminished fighter the next day.
But that's the attitude that's changed. You know, that's not how it was before. It was for that advantage. But now if you're got half of, you know, a brain cell, you'll realise that your advantage if you're not depleted
is being fresh.
Yeah, exactly. And so some fighters will literally walk around at, say they'll walk around at 65 kilos and they wouldn't fight any less than 60. you know, and they'll drop that over 8 to 12 weeks before their fight. That's smart.
It's still a growing... Everyone's still learning these things, though. Like, people... I'm sure when you first started Muay Thai, the sparring was a lot fucking harder in the gyms.
Yeah,
Like,
I've got brain damage.
You were like, like a lot of people in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, late 90s, early 90s, they lost all of their fucking brain cells in the training room. Not even... A lot of them didn't even get to their fight career because they fucking ruined their lives fighting 4 nights a week for free in a gym.
For fun.
Like, legit just punching on. Like, every now and then when you're sparring, it's okay to put the foot on the pedal a little bit. If you're getting ready for a fight and you want your reaction time, like, you need that every now and then. You should have really hard sparring sessions, but not fucking 6 nights a week and getting knocked out in training and shit.
Nah, definitely not. I always worry when people say they've been training and they're like, oh, I got knocked out in sparring. And I'd be like, how are you guys sparring? Like, you should not be getting knocked out. That's a freak accident. That should happen. Yeah, it
should be an accident. Like, they zigged and you zagged and fucking they call you. But if someone puts it on you, but it's sometimes people need, like, if someone's going hard as fuck, and like you tell them like to calm down, and they fucking just keep going hard. And
that's natural selection.
If you have the ability to put them out before they fucking injure someone that's just started, or goes too hard on someone that's not up to their scratch, that's a different story. That's just, like you said, that's natural selection.
Yeah, that happens in every gym. Every trainer's got a story where they're like, oh yeah, just chuck it on him.
I got the closest I've been to getting knocked out in training was Harry Gabrielson, and Miles told me it was going to happen. He was telling me it was my fault. He was like, "You're dropping your head to the left. He's gonna kick you in the head." Like, and he's saying it for like a minute. I was like, "Nah, it's chill." And I just seen this fucking dude, Harry's big stupid leg, just fucking boof straight to my. That's the last thing I seen, and I was like, "Great." It's the first time I was like, "I won't do that."
He called it.
Yeah, he called it. He was telling me for a minute, so that's my fault. But it just depends. I think gym culture's a lot better now too.
It's so different. I mean, there's some things that are better. There's some things that are worse.
There's always people that cling on to old ways and...
Yeah, exactly. But even some of the old ways were almost a little bit better. But with some things, they need to evolve. They need to change. And I think that's why I keep telling myself, just as a promoter, like, you've got to be on the ball, and you've got to be willing to change and take feedback and all that sort of stuff. It's the same in the gym, you know. If people are saying, oh, we feel like we need to do this more, or this needs to change, then so be it. You just roll with it.
How do you feel about people cross-training?
Yeah, we do it all the time. We have people come in and spar. Our fighters go and spar elsewhere.
It's a funny little thing, cross-training. It gets a lot of people really upset.
It is. Some trainers get really funny about it. And in some situations, yes. Like, if you go on social media and you see your fighters are just suddenly training elsewhere and haven't let you know, and you're like, well, they're meant to be at training. Like, yeah, so fair.
But if they're like, oh, I just want to go get a new look from some different bodies, can I go down to 100%. M16 for fucking a few nights just because I just want to spar? It's really good to go to other gyms and to fucking spar different people, because you'd know, if you're training with, like, say, 6 people for 2 years, you know all of their ticks and all of their... It's like you fought them 100 fucking times. You're not getting
complacent.
You're not getting any different looks. They're probably not calling you out on your fucking, or they're like, do you know what I mean? You're very complacent with each other, like 100%. You said. Whereas if you go to another gym and your hand doesn't come back to your head quick enough, you're going to get jabbed in the head. Like, your weaknesses will get more exposed. Your strengths will get more exposed. You know?
Yeah, 100%.
But a lot of gyms fucking, not a lot, but there is like a select few of gyms.
Yeah, I actually saw someone wrote something about this the other day on Facebook, but it was in the BJJ community.
It's worst.
I was like, I don't know if it's similar.
The worst.
But like, if one of my fighters comes to me and says, I need different sparring, all right, work it out. Who can we bring in? Where can you go to get some rounds? You know, like, you do that. And as a trainer, I would never want to take that from them if they want to do that. Like, fair enough.
You would never. You've never seen anything like jiu-jitsu politics.
I'm glad to know it's worse. I don't know. I feel like we don't really have heat like
jiu-jitsu shit is like mafia. It's wild. Like, especially old school Brazilian jiu-jitsu, like purists. if you even fucking thought about going to another gym, if they're like a purist of the sport and fucking like just there's very select few, but like they will kick you out the gym. They will be like, fuck off, have a tanty, hope your life gets ruined forever.
I think that comes from the old school martial arts though, because
Yeah, it
that's how
does.
it used to be, you know, like if you...
You're this dojo's.
Yeah,
This
like,
is our dojo.
when I first started going to fight shows, like, I'm talking I was 12, 13, so like real young, you could literally see the segregation of clubs. Like
It's like
people
bikers
didn't...
in their fucking colours.
100% people
Yeah.
didn't even mingle like with other people from other clubs. They'd be like, oh, why are you talking to that person? That's how it was. So I think it has come a long way, but I think that is still in some of the old school trainers' thoughts, you know?
And yeah, it's just, especially when you fucking get like gis on and belts on and shit, it just turns into fucking some, I don't know, it's weird. But yeah, it's definitely really prevalent. It's prevalent in any form of combat sports. I think it's just in any combat sports because like you said, it's old school. Like even karate gyms would fucking have it.
Oh, every sport has it. But I always just think if someone can have a conversation with me and have a chat to me, fine, that's fine.
And the best people in the world are the people that travel around and cross-train heaps.
Yeah,
They got their
exactly.
main trainers and shit, but they're traveling the world.
But that's also probably coming from the trainers encouraging them to spar different people, you know, that's when you learn. Like sometimes I look at our fighters and they spar each other all the time and we'll just go, oh, I'm sick of watching them do the same shit over and over and over again. And that's when we're like, all right, let's get some other clubs in. You know, I love getting other clubs in and, you know, you do work with other people. And we had Adelaide Kickboxing come down and bring one of their boys down. He did some sparring and even just hearing how that trainer coached his fighter, I was like, I can learn from that. Like I learnt so much.
Because you're
Even
still a
just-
young coach as well.
I learn every day. And like there's things I've done in the past that I've been like, ugh, would not do that again. But that's all part of it is learning. And I think as a trainer, you have to be willing to accept that you don't know shit. You don't know everything. You're never going to know everything.
Would you be open to doing a pride tournament?
A pride tournament.
Like a tournament-based like fight show, like not a fight show, but like a tournament, like
What do you mean?
like an 8-man,
Oh yeah, I've
not like
actually,
a fucking Mortal Kombat like.
I was like, oh, jeez.
No.
There's actually a couple of 4 8-mans that I'm thinking of. Like,
Oh, you should do and call it Road to Pride.
could be good. Let's do it. Who are you thinking? You've obviously got someone in mind.
It depends what weight you'd want to do. You'd probably do like two 8-mans or 2 4. I don't know logistically. 2 8-mans you can make into one card. What's the legalities on people fighting the same in one night though?
They can do it in a tournament.
They can.
Yeah.
Well, you'd obviously do like Jack's weight and maybe like just a weight class higher.
I think the 66 to 68 has got some absolute belters in it across Australia.
Because majority of Australia's a very small country. Like we don't have a lot of natural heavyweights. Like so I feel like 66 to 72 kilos is where majority of fighters kind of sit in Australia.
Yep.
So I reckon finding the fighters would be easiest in those weight categories. And personally, I think they're the best weight categories because they have the speed of the smaller guys, but they retain some of the power of the bigger guys.
Yeah,
So around that,
100%.
so 66 to 74 kilos, anywhere in between there and around there, I feel like is optimal for fighting because it's explosive, it's still technical. Whereas if you go to the lightest weight classes, not shitting on them, they just don't carry the power. They're more technical than they're probably a lot more technical because they have to be than the heavier fighters. But then the heavier fighters, obviously, a lot of the time less technical than, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what
I
you're
feel like
saying.
that's just a real sweet spot for fighting.
Yeah, logistically, you'd want to have. So I've thought about this for a little bit, and there's a couple of people who are coming up to be eligible for some pretty legitimate belts in Australia. So I'm hoping that if they can get those, if they win those, and then those belts are then up for grabs. And because it's local, it makes everything make a bit more sense, you know, because you've got that belt on the line, you've got a reigning champ, and then you've got 3 or 7 other people that want that belt, and you can actually do a tournament for a title, but like a legit title, you know, like a national title. Or
That'd be sick.
something like that.
A tournament would be so fun. That I feel like that would be. It would be. Oh, it would have different stresses, I imagine, to what you're doing now. It would have. Yeah. It would have, obviously. You wouldn't have the 60 fighters to worry about, but then you'd have like, this bloke just won the fight, but he broke his leg. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it'd be a different kettle of fish. But I'd definitely like to do it. It's been on my mind a little bit. I love
tournaments. They don't do them enough anymore.
No,
I believe Jack won one.
He did one on knees, which was awesome. I commentated that show. But yeah, it's not easy to find the pool. Like, they're there, but there's some people that really won't do it, that don't want to fight in a tournament.
That's totally like a normal thing. Like, a lot of people don't want to fight once, let alone 3 times in a night.
Exactly. And people pick and choose their opponents, let alone if they
that would be just so interesting.
It's hopefully maybe we'll see for the next show if I can put something together. Yeah,
a tournament. I reckon that would be the go, because it's just so. I feel like tournaments with Muay Thai have like such a special place. Like, it's just. It gives you that blood sporty kind of feel, like just when you used to watch those old martial arts movies and there was a tournament. I feel like there's like a romanticism between tournaments and Muay Thai, because it's like, how tough are you actually?
Yeah, well, like I said, you know, fighting once is one thing, but twice, it's not easy. Like, the recovery.
By the third fight, they're fucked.
Yeah,
like,
the adrenaline dumps as well. Like, I don't think people count those enough. I've only fought twice in one day once.
Was it shit?
It was, yeah, and it was just like, because it's that hype up, you fight. Your body's
your
not
legs
feeling great.
out.
Like, you can dominate and still come off and be like, oh, I'm cooked, you know, and then you're like, oh, I've got to get amped again. I've got to do that all again. Like, that's the hard part.
So the second fight's probably the hardest, because you're like, fuck. And then even if you've dominated the fight, it fucking sucks kicking people. Like, kicking people fucking hurts you too.
Yeah.
Like, everything hurts. But even if you get your leg chopped out, you don't realise it while you're fighting, and then after the fight, it's like, oh no, my leg's fucking toasted.
Yeah, I used to get out of the ring and just pop Nurofen straight away.
Yeah.
Just feel like this pain is coming in heavy.
Yeah, that would.
I miss that feeling.
Really?
But then
are you itching for one?
I think fighters always do, don't they, when they finish up?
Are you done or?
Yes and no. Like, that's a hard thing. I don't know. I've been training in boxing a little bit.
I always see you training boxing. So
I'd love to do that, because that was the worst part of me fighting, was punching. I hated it. I was shit at it.
Really?
So
your hands are good.
Thank you. So I was like, well, if I can have a boxing fight, then it kind of ticks it off in my brain a little bit.
Jazzy Pa.
She weighs like one of my legs.
She's fucking tiny, eh?
She's so small.
She's a fucking weapon, though, isn't she?
Yeah, she's good. She was great at Muay Thai as well, though. But, like, look at the bloodlines.
Yeah, man. She's...
All of them are crazy.
Even the son, is it the younger? He's younger than Jazzy, yeah?
I think Jesse?
Yeah?
Yep.
I've seen him hitting pads, and it's just...
unreal. I think he does BJJ, actually.
Hopefully.
I think he competes in that.
Or some par in MMA would be crazy. I don't know why she hasn't done it yet.
I don't know. Maybe she'll make the crossover.
She would fucking kill people. It's just the takedowns, but she would just need to learn to not get submitted, and she would beat the fuck out of people. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, some of my favourite fighters in MMA have all crossed over from Muay Thai.
Oh really?
Like Joanna
and.
She was awesome.
Valentina,
yep.
Holly
Holm.
Joanna used to be a fucking animal, still is.
Oh, have you seen her hitting pads in retirement?
With those bolt-ons she has on her chest now? Really?
She is like, you look at her and you're like, surely you're not done. But I remember I actually went to the IFMA World Championships for Muay Thai, and she was fighting there. Like, years and years ago.
Oh, really? Pre-UFC.
And watching her, like...
She's just pacing everyone up.
You've got 4 rings, and the second she's on, everyone was just like... They needed to watch this real tiny chick.
Just pacing everyone up.
And she did. And then when she went to UFC, it was just like...
Valentina might be one of the greatest combat sports athletes of all time. Like, in general, male and female.
She fought at IFMA Worlds for Muay Thai as well.
freak.
Crazy.
Freak. Like, just so good at everything.
Everything.
Her jiu-jitsu is as good as her fucking striking. Her striking is as good as her wrestling. She hits fucking hard. She's so technical. She's just never off balance. It's like watching a fucking ballet. And she shoots handguns in her spare time and is like a Russian spy or some shit.
She's a crazy badass, hey.
She's a crazy bitch.
An amazing role model, hey.
Oh, like, she's so crazy. She's just... And she does, like, traditional dances in her spare time and shit. She's locked in.
Yeah, pretty cool human.
She is very cool. Who was, like, your biggest inspiration when you were growing up in, like, combat sports? Would it obviously be your family? Because your family's pretty heavy in the sport.
Yeah. Well, I grew up around some pretty cool people, so I was always amongst it. But favourite fighters for me, ooh.
Do you watch a lot of MMA?
A little bit, yeah. I'm not a diehard fan, but I watch it and I enjoy it and I respect it. But I've never actually said this to him, but Miles was actually somebody that I looked up to when I was growing up. I used to love watching him fight, and Steve Behan.
Oh, Behan's a weapon.
Yep, Charlie Chow. Like these are all the people I grew up watching before I was fighting.
I guess that would have been their prime era when you were like 8, 9, 10, 11.
Yeah. Like my first shows.
Getting old, boys.
My first shows, going to watch them, that's who I was watching. There was like, Christy Litster out of Flinders, Anita Pagnani out of Flinders.
Ligursky.
Like, yep, 100%.
Josh Braithwaite.
Yep.
Fighting. Ligursky. Slawinski probably was on the tail end of his career.
Yep. Kim Johnson was a big one for me as well. Like, I used to love watching Kim fight, and he's still fighting. And I'm like,
is he?
Yeah. I think he's aiming to get to 50 fights. But just like here and there. But he was unreal to watch.
It's so funny seeing some of them that aren't as active, obviously, in the community anymore, because they've gotten lives now, they have careers, and you just look at them and it's like people just don't understand how dangerous that fucking...
The caliber of that human standing there.
Like, imagine Steve just in his doctor's office and someone just gives him a fucking, like, a stare, and he's like, oh, you have no idea. I could just kick you in the fucking head right now. Like, do you know what I mean? People just don't know what certain people are capable of, and it's so funny.
But that's the generation change, isn't it? Like, I actually had the thought the other day.
It's like if you were in the shopping centre, like a girl like me mugs you, she doesn't know how close she is to getting fucking knocked out.
That's the best part. And that's what you learn, isn't it? Don't judge a book by its cover.
Oh, dude, you go into a fight gym and you see some people that you don't think can kick some ass, and they'll kick your ass.
Yeah, literally. But when I was chatting to Miles the other day just about his fighters or whatever, and I had this thought, and I was like, how crazy that when I was like, 12, 13, I'm watching Miles in the ring, and now I'm working with him to put his fighters on my show. Like,
full circle.
It's a full circle, and there's so many little things like that. Like in Muay Thai, all of our officials, most of the refs in the ring, people don't realise how unreal they were back in the day when they were fighting. Like, we almost need to do like a slideshow of who you see now.
Oh, wow.
What they were.
Oh my God, that would be fucking hilarious to do.
Wouldn't it?
Oh my God, that'd be funny. But I won't keep you for too long because you probably need some fucking downtime in your life.
I gotta go to work. I've got to train the fighters.
Oh God, but we'll try and aim, if you're not heaps busy after Pride, not directly after, but like maybe a week or two after, we'll do a recap, maybe have a beer or something.
Yeah, who are we gonna bet is gonna be our fight of the night? What do you put?
Fight of the night?
Yeah.
Fight of the night. You really G'd me up with fucking Isaac and who's he? What was the name of his
Mark.
opponent? Mark. Isaac and Mark. Just because I'm not familiar with Mark, but I know how violent Isaac is, and with what you've told me about Mark, that fight is definitely not leaving the first round.
That's my prediction.
So, but do you judge that as fight of the night, or I don't know, I reckon Jack's going to have a stellar performance. He's just dialed in.
I don't expect anything less.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. There's another female fight on the card, which is Hannah Salter from SA versus a girl called Isabella Marcos from Victoria.
Is that on the main card?
Main card, and I think that's going to be
A banger.
A banger as well. Yep.
Well, fight everyone. I hope you enjoy. Please go to Pride Fight Series on Instagram and buy the pay-per-view because you weren't quick enough to get tickets. Boom, 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 boom. I got tickets. Yeah, I got tickets. But yeah, thank you all for watching and have a good one.
Thanks
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks heaps.